What's up, ladies and gentlemen? ChuckfinleLP plays Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode Metal Part 2. This is the wrap-up video where I'll talk about the lesser-known trivia for this game. There isn't a whole lot to this game, to be honest, and there isn't a lot of like development-wise stuff that I can talk about, but there are a few things, so I'll just go ahead and get right into it. I guess the overview of how you get this is Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode Metal is a lock-on content of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 available for free to those who have purchased both Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 as well as Episode 2 on the same device, but you have to have a save file of both on a user account. So I talked about this in Episode 1. If you, let's say you bought Episode 1, then got rid of it, but bought Episode 2, you could not play Episode Metal until if you got Episode 1 and then beat it, got rid of the game, but then kept the save file, and then you got rid of the save file as well, you could not play Episode Metal until you got the save file for Episode 1. If you have a save file for Episode 1 and 2, but got rid of Episode 1, the game, I believe you could, but I'm not 100% sure, and I haven't read anything to say that you can. I believe you have to have both of those games on the same system or device. The extra episode ties together the events of Sonic CD to those of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, beginning with the return of Metal Sonic. So this kind of bridges that gap between, Sonic CD and episode Sonic 4, but Sonic 4 is supposed to precede Sonic 3, which followed Knuckles and Angel Island and all that. The extra episode is the result of Episode 2 detecting Episode 1 on the same console, not unlike the lock-on feature for Sonic and Knuckles, or the lock-on of Sonic and Knuckles into Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog or any other Mega Drive Genesis title with Blue Sphere. Once Episode 1 and Episode 2 are on the same system, players can access Episode Metal as an extension of the world map on Episode 2. What Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is, you can play as Knuckles throughout the entire Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game. I'm not too familiar with what you can actually do game-wise. I believe you can still collect the only difference between Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Knuckles and Sonic 2 is the Knuckles can explore once inaccessible areas or secrets such as 1-ups have been added for Knuckles. Some areas are harder because Knuckles cannot jump very high and accelerate slowly. In particular, the final boss is regarded as being much more difficult to beat while playing as Knuckles. It does not say whether or not you can actually collect the emeralds and become Super Knuckles, but I would... here it says Knuckles retains his rings after a special stage or losing a life, making it much easier to obtain Chaos Emeralds. Getting the emeralds is easier too for special stages have reduced ring quotas for Knuckles to achieve, making it easier to obtain Super Knuckles. So you actually can obtain Super Knuckles. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, but back to Episode Metal. I just thought I'd point that out because Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is not something that is widely known to people. I will talk about Blue Sphere really quickly. It's an Easter egg video game built into the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge for the Sega Mega Drive, accessible by attaching any Mega Drive game cartridge other than Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Sonic the Hedgehog 3 into the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on port. Blue Sphere is a collection of special stages in the same style and engine of those featured in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. So there you go. That's just a rough overview for it. But the plot for this for Episode Metal: immediately following his crushing and brutal defeat to Sonic on Stardust Speedway, a severely damaged and powerless Metal Sonic falls as he is left behind on a little planet. A long time has passed as a screen floats down to the robot's remains. A screen showing Dr.Robotnik as he finds the ruined Metal Sonic, electrocutes and reactivates him. Robotnik then commands the still crippled Metal Sonic to leave Little Planet and summons him to Mad Gear's Zone, which was built for the specific purpose of repairing and enhancing Metal Sonic. Revitalized, Metal Sonic is sent off to eliminate Sonic once and for all. He soon arrives at the Lost Labyrinth Zone and explores the deeper parts of the ruins. Once he reaches an altar and a secret room hidden within the darkness, he finds a mysterious orb comprised of powerful energy, which is exactly what Robotnik was searching the labyrinth for. Metal Sonic approaches the orb and absorbs it into his system with a massive surge of power. His body erupts with purple sparks and a purple aura as he tears through the stone walls of the labyrinth with ease, leaving for the electric roads of Casino Street Zone. In pursuit of Sonic, Metal Sonic finally reaches Splash Hill Zone. However, though he manages to locate his organic counterpart, he reaches the end of the zone only to find Sonic and Tails taking off on the tornado. Heading for Sylvania Castle Zone, Metal Sonic quickly notices the rocket that Sonic used to get to the EGG Station Zone, standing not too far from an open capsule. Metal Sonic unleashes a special attack to scare the striding animals away, as he then takes the rocket for himself, flying off to trail both Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic and Tails would confront Metal Sonic in White Park Zone in Episode 2, just as a robotic double arrives with the stolen rocket, beginning the boss battle against him. Gameplay. Being an extension of the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 saga, the game is handled the same way as the other episodes with a few differences. Metal Sonic bears nearly the exact same gameplay mechanics as Sonic does in Episode 1, however, due to the additional content being built from Episode 2, it shares the same modified physics engine. The acts are reworked versions of pre-existing zones from Episode 1, specifically all of the Act 1 stages of the 4 main zones. The zone order is in reverse compared to Episode 1, with the first stage being Mad Gear Zone, to the final stage being Splash Hill Zone. The level design is also more difficult than usual, having more enemies, fallouts, areas where you can fall and die, and spikes. Interestingly, when Metal Sonic clears an act and dashes past a gold plate, the signpost spins and changes from displaying an image of Sonic to an image of Metal Sonic. This mimics the same action that occurs when Sonic clears an act and zooms by a gold plate, which normally changes from this image of Robotnik to the one of Sonic. Additionally, the picture of the Power Sneakers box, which usually shows Sonic's shoes, now shows Metal Sonic's foot. I don't believe I guess I may have only collected one Power Sneakers box, so I guess I neglected to show that off. Titles for all the acts: Metal Sonic Returns, which is Mad Gear Zone, Act 2, Lost Labyrinth Zone, The Altar's Hidden Treasure, Act 3, Electric Road, which is Casino Street Zone, and Act 4, In Pursuit of Sonic, which is Splash Hill Zone. Appearances in this game: Metal Sonic, which is the only playable character in Episode Metal, non-playable Dr. Robotnik, Sonic the Hedgehog, Miles Tails per Hour. Enemies: Bubbles, Buzzer, Chopper, Motobug, Neutron, Batbot, Barobot, Jaws, Orbinaut, Shellcracker, and Slicer. All enemies from Episode 1. Zones, as I said before: Stardust Speedway only, cutscene only, Mad Gear Zone, Lost Labyrinth, Casino Street, and Splash Hill Zone. So here's the trivia. Stardust Speedway, as it is depicted in Episode Metal, is the same as it was in Sonic Generations, so they just used the existing assets from Sonic Generations and put it into Episode Metal. The introductory cutscene begins with the Stardust Speedway Zone 3 title card from Sonic CD. The same round and zone the memorable race took place. The same round and zone the memorable race took place. I guess they're talking about it being in Stardust Speedway Act 3. I guess I don't know what they're. A lot of the time, the place I get my information from isn't written exactly so that you can understand it. So I do have a hard time understanding a lot of it. But anyway, as Metal Sonic reactivates, the music turns into an instrumental version of Sonic Boom, which is the main theme of Sonic CD in the US. When Metal Sonic departs Little Planet and flies towards Mad Gear Zone and Sonic's home world, the song Sonic You Can Do Anything plays, being the same game's main theme in the Japanese and European versions. I didn't hear a remixed version of Sonic Boom, but I did catch the Sonic You Can Do Anything. And I believe I talked about it in Episode 1 as well. Additionally, the song that plays when Metal Sonic steals Tails' rocket is a more robotic reprise of the cutscene before the EGG Station theme. Something else I didn't catch. The physics of Episode 2 are used in the game, but the gameplay elements are from Episode 1. This is the first game to star Metal Sonic as a main character. A beta version of Episode 2 was leaked on Steam in April, though it was quickly removed. As a result, those who owned Episode 1 on the same account had access to Episode Metal as well. Interestingly, after every stage Metal Sonic completes this, this is just gonna talk about the sign image changing from Sonic to Metal Sonic rather than Robotnik to Sonic. Even though the stages are from Episode 1, the signpost of Sonic is in the style of Episode 2 signpost, not Episode 1's style. So that's something I didn't point out either, but it kind of goes fast, so you really can't see it all that well. All of Metal Sonic sound effects are taken from Sonic Adventure DX from when he was playable. I pointed that out. The sound that Black Doom had made when he appeared to Shadow was reused when Metal Sonic had obtained the energy in Lost Labyrinth Zone. Something I didn't catch, but or even talk about, but something I didn't catch either. But anyway, so I'll take a look and see how Metal Sonic becomes a playable character. Metal Sonic is unlocked after getting all of the emblems. He is only an alternate costume for Sonic and has no story of his own. He replaces Sonic's story. The feature is only available for Sonic Adventure DX and not in the original Sonic Adventure. He also has different sound effects, so you have to get every single emblem to be able to play as him, which is pretty difficult. But anyway, so I will now look for the price of episodes 1 and 2, just so I can talk about those. But yeah, that's. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut here so that I can figure it out. Just so there isn't dead air. I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I did find out the prices for both games. Episode 1 is $10, and right now, currently, Episode 2 is $15, so that is $25. Again, not really worth it to buy it if you're just if you don't have Episode 2 and you're just buying it for Episode 1. For Episode Metal, Episode 1 being $10 is a little bit better if you already have Episode 2, but just remember, I don't believe you need these games if you have the save file for either game tied to a user on your system. I'm not sure how the Xbox 360 handles that, but I know for the PS3, as long as you have a user, you can just have a save file tied to that user. As long as you have both Episode 1 and 2, you shouldn't have any trouble. But anyway, so that's it. That's all the information for it. Thank you for watching. Won't be a challenge video because this is a wrap-up video. I will be doing Sonic Colors next. That will be for the Nintendo Wii. So until then, later everyone.